How are we going to start this?
We should have like a little thing, like a little.
This is like a very important moment. This is setting the tone.
Law being written right now
for the next 20 years of the 1am Book Club podcast. So, do you have any bright ideas about what we could do for an intro?
Oh, I don't know.
Hi, welcome to the 1am Book Club podcast.
I'm Kira.
And I'm 1am Book Review. But you could call me Adam. And today on the 1am Book Club podcast, we are talking about... What are we talking about?
The Talented Mr. Ripley.
By Patricia Highsmith. It was published in 1955. I've got two questions for you, Bog.
Yep.
First question is, what is in your mug?
What's in my mug?
What are you drinking?
I'm drinking cold coffee that I made myself.
Oh, you made cold coffee?
I made cold coffee.
Is that the weird way that you make?
Yeah. So I do the coffee, the hot milk, but only the hot water, but only fill the hot water just so you can melt the coffee.
That's incredibly disturbed.
A little bit of milk and then fill the rest up with water. Cold water.
That is weird.
Mm-hmm.
You think you would just make iced
in
coffee, you know?
Nah.
I'm just going to make like room temperature coffee.
Yeah.
That's actually the worst state for coffee to be in, like...
Room temperature?
If you've let it sit for a little while, but you're deliberately making it that way.
Yeah, I don't like hot coffee.
Well, I'm drinking Twinings peppermint tea. It's very nice.
How very Dickie Greenleaf.
It is quite...
How very Tom
well,
Ripley.
Some might say that mint peppermint is a green leaf, so
What?
that's sort of some foreshadowing, I think.
My goodness
Completely
gracious.
unintentional. Yeah, so here we are.
Here we are.
Perched in the 1am Book Club podcast studio.
The headquarters of the
Of
podcast.
the podcast, otherwise known as my living room. Please don't spill anything on the carpet, because my mum will
won't.
kill both of us.
We have coasters. We have coasters.
We have coasters.
And
Mother.
I'm going to be very, very careful. I do promise.
She will not hesitate to kill guests. She's done it in the past.
That's okay.
How do you think she paid for this new wallpaper?
Oh,
She's a hitman on the side. Hit woman.
hit women.
So speaking of murder, let's get into... Oh, I haven't had my second question yet.
Yeah.
My second question is, what are you reading right now? What is the next book on the horizon?
To be honest, I've got a head start in reading our new book that we're doing for February.
Oh, I see. We better wait to
We'll
announce
wait
that
till
till
the
the
end.
end of
We'll
the
wait
podcast.
till the end.
Yeah.
Because
I have not started.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I only finished this book on like Sunday or Monday night.
You only finished The Talented Mr. Ripley on Sunday?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna need a little bit of extra time
Fair.
to read this one.
Well, I've still to crack into our new book, but
What you reading?
currently reading, and this is really lame, I'm currently reading Charlie Higson's The Enemy, which is a zombie book written for 14-year-olds.
Woohoo!
Because you know that way where you buy a book when you're like, you know, this was a lot longer ago for me than it was for you, but when you buy a book when you're like 13 and you're like, I'm going to read that soon, and it's now been like almost 10 years and I still haven't read it yet. So
Yeah.
I'm just sort of trying to read everything I own, and
I mean, you've got a lot of books.
I do have
You
like
have a
way
lot of
too many.
books.
Way too many books. So I made myself a pact with myself that I was going to read everything I owned before I buy anything else, which isn't going to happen. Never going to
I
happen.
always do that. I always say, I'm going to read all the things I've got on my shelf before I buy anything else. And then, you know, I'm in the centre, I'm walking past Waterstones, I'm like, I should really go into
Complete
Waterstones.
lack of self-control.
Yeah.
Every time I look in the window and I see something I don't even want, I go, I'll just nip in, just in case I might see something I like.
Yeah.
You know? And I go over to the part that says like essential fiction, the essential fiction table,
Yes.
and I'm like, well, I have to buy it.
Well,
it's essential. You know, they're forcing my hand here.
I have to do it.
And that is where I first saw, this is a clever segue, I never even intended to do this. And that table is where I first saw Patricia Highsmith, The Talented Mr. Ripley, published in 1955.
Wow.
Which is this podcast's and the first book of the podcast. How exciting.
The inaugural book.
The inaugural book.
I love it. I think I started this book like out of boredom in like first year or second year or something, and I didn't go back to it. But now that I've actually read it, it's really good.
Yeah, I can see it being the sort of book that I would not like if I was a bit younger.
Yeah,
But
it's like I think I probably picked it up because my teacher was like, "Okay, you're finished your work now. Do some reading." So I just picked it up out of.
I
It
recommend.
was either that or like a Guinness Book of World Records.
Where's Wally or
Where's-
The Talented Mr. Ripley, which in a way is kind of like Where's
I see
Wally?
it.
Yeah.
I see it.
Where's Ripley?
Where's Ripley? Can we talk about how there's a Ripley series?
Well, yes. I mean, feel free. You talk about it.
So I thought. Well, I got a text from you being like, "There's a Ripley series with Andrew Scott coming out. How crazy is that?" And I just thought, wow, what fate!
Look what we've caused.
Look
Look
what
what
we've
we've
caused.
created.
I think we're prophets.
So basically what we're saying here is that if you want to get the jump on the new Ripley series that's coming out, you should
Read the
listen to this
book.
podcast.
Listen to
And
this
also read the
podcast.
book.
I mean, listen to this podcast first. You need to finish it and then read the book.
Of course.
Yeah,
It's essential.
it's essential.
It's essential reading, as
Essential
Waterstone says.
fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So tell me, Bog, what is the, and I'm going to force you to do this because I'm terrible with words when it comes to describing the plots of
Okay.
things.
okay.
What is The Talented Mr. Ripley about?
So there's this guy called Tom Ripley. He lives in New York. He's a con artist.
Yep.
And he's approached by this guy called Mr. Greenleaf.
First name Mr.
First name Mr.
Second name Greenleaf.
Yes. Senior, the dad.
Senior Greenleaf.
Father Greenleaf. And this guy's like, "Hey Tom,
How's it going?
how's it going? My son, Dickie Greenleaf, Richard Greenleaf II, Jr. He's in Italy, gallivanting, and I need you to go get him back." So Tom's like, "Hey,
I bet.
there's money in this. I'm gonna do it." So he goes to Italy, and he finds Dickie, and he tries to be Dickie's friend, and it all goes wrong, and
And we're going to get into
we're
what,
gonna get into it.
why
Dickie
it goes wrong.
dies. Tom murders him.
and then Tom goes on a European vacation
He does,
as
and he gets away with it.
Dickie Greenleaf. He steals
I-
his identity.
Which it's insane. I
Yeah.
didn't think that's what this book was about.
I know it is a very considering how well known and important it is in the kind of pantheon of fiction, especially crime fiction. I didn't know anything about this book. If I used the word pantheon, I think I used it correctly. I should have
You
said the word
sound so
canon.
smart right now.
No, did you know I went to the best university in the country, the University of Glasgow?
Of Glasgow.
Just a little shout
Shout
out.
out.
Yeah. Yeah, as you can see, my graduation photo was actually over there on the
I
desk.
see it. You look.
Yeah.
You look.
And my degree certificate is in that frame.
I feel so like, I don't know,
Honoured.
honoured and unlearned right now.
Unlearned?
Unlearned.
Well, you're about to feel very learned as we dive into The Talented Mr. Ripley. So I have my books here.
Do it.
I made my notes.
Give me your notes.
My notes.
Your notes are a lot more detailed than mine. I've just got like vague things that I want to talk about.
I would like
You've
to-
got like marked pages and stuff.
True. Because I thought, every time I thought there was an important page, I went, that's an important page. Let's give that a circle. So
Yeah.
I think my first, and we'll kind of try and do this chronologically.
Mhm.
If you read the book Talented Mr. Ripley at home, hope you enjoyed it.
It was
I
great.
personally loved it. I thought it was absolutely brilliant.
I thought it was
A
awesome.
new favourite.
Definitely.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Actually, maybe like 9 out of 10.
Patricia Highsmith.
Nothing's
My guy.
gonna beat Crossroads by Jonathan Franzen for me.
Never read it. I've never even
Man,
heard of that before.
Get it.
Crossroads by
on
Jonathan.
Jonathan Franzen, Crossroads. It's a big book. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's like 500 pages.
Well, we can get it on the podcast.
Hey,
So,
I'll talk about that
True.
at length.
so my first question.
Yeah.
Tom Ripley, he's gallivanting around New York City.
Mm-hmm.
He's running IRS scams. He's conning people
Yes.
out of bad checks.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not cashing the checks, He's not
He's not
stealing
doing
from
it. He's
them.
not. He's just
It's just the game for him.
because he loves the chase.
He loves the chase. Exactly. We're gonna come back to this.
This
Tom
man loves a little bit of anticipation.
loves the thrill of being caught.
Yes. Like even at the start when he's feels like somebody's following him at the very, very start, he's like, I could turn around right now. But he goes into like another club and is like,
Mhm.
I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna draw this out a little bit more.
And I'm gonna drop
love
I'm gonna drop a quote from the Talented
Oh my
Mr. Ripley.
goodness,
Let me
it's
draw
happening.
your attention to page number 1 when it says, At the corner, Tom leaned forward and trotted across Fifth Avenue. There was Raoul's. Should he take a chance and go in for another drink, tempt fate and all that? Or should he beat it over to Park Avenue and try losing him in a few dark doorways? He went into Raoul's.
Of course he does.
Because he loves the chase.
Because he loves the chase, and I think he's a bit of an attention hog as well.
Oh, he's totally an attention whore. He it makes it very clear that Tom Ripley... Okay, here's a very important question. We'll just get this right out of the way at the start because it basically ties in with everything. Is Tom Ripley a psychopath?
I was thinking about this, and I don't think he is, but this is the thing though, he doesn't really feel remorse for the bad things that he does. There's one bit at the end that I probably
like right near at the end.
Right,
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. He was like, yeah, I've got it here. I'll quote. He's thinking about all these things that have happened, and Marge is there, and need to talk about Marge. But he's spinning out by the end of this book, right? I've got this quoted. Then none of this would have happened, and he could have lived with Dickie for the rest of his life, travelled and lived and enjoyed living for the rest of his days, if only he hadn't put on Dickie's clothes that day. That is probably, and I've circled that as possibly the first time Tom actually feels regret for the bad things he does.
Is that remorse? He doesn't feel bad for killing Dickie. He just feels bad that he's
now losing out on the thing that he wanted to do.
Yeah. He's still selfish in a way. I don't know. I think.
He's so selfish.
I think if Tom Ripley isn't a psychopath, he's definitely at least a sociopath.
I mean, like, because what does he do? I mean, he kills Dickie for what? He kills Freddie Miles for what? What's the motive there? I don't feel like there's a motive.
I think he kills... His motive for killing Freddie Miles is a bit more...
I mean, well, because he
doesn't want to get caught.
He doesn't want to get caught.
For Dickie's murder. But Dickie's murder, and we'll come to this, but it's more of a... Tom Ripley is like... He's not schizophrenic or anything, which is weird because there's a quote on the back of this book that describes him as schizophrenic, which is not...
I think he's just extremely paranoid.
But he also doesn't know what he wants. He's a classic man. He has no idea what he wants.
No.
Because he wants Dickie. He wants to be Dickie. But he also hates Dickie.
He does.
You know?
But I think he... And I wrote this down in my notes a wee bit. I think he hates Dickie because Dickie represents everything that Tom wants to be, but he isn't. So Dickie's like a product of like generational wealth, or like Dickie's been born into this very high class family, a very successful family, and he's like Herbert Richard Greenleaf II.
Yeah.
Tom is just Tom Ripley. He's brought up by his aunt because his parents drowned.
Which he passively mentions
as if that's like, you know...
I do love... Tom Ripley's such an interesting character too because he describes these... And this is also why I think he might just be a sociopath. He describes these horrible events in relation to his own image. So he's like... He's on a boat and he's talking about his fear of water.
It's like, oh yeah, well my parents died. Oh.
And it's... He's like, oh, but... Getting seasick is so like that's such an ick. Like I can't get
it's
seasick.
Like it's so low class.
Like, my parents drowned in the Boston Harbor, but like isn't that so embarrassing?
It's so embarrassing. Imagine if people found out that my parents drowned. I couldn't deal with that.
So I think, and like you were saying, how Dickie is everything that he wants to be.
Dickie is everything that he wants to be, and that's why, in the book where like Tom's looking at Dickie or just like observing him, it's always the material possessions he always focused on, like the rings or the clothes or the boat or that he's living this like fantastic life. It's Tom's like so I feel like he's so motivated by material possession. He's like number one consumer, I think.
Yes. I find that highly relatable as a massive consumer.
Yeah, and I wrote this in my notes, the nature of Tom Ripley, relatable character ? There is a bit where he's like a funny bit where he's like he's on the boat and he's talking to someone, or wait, I've got it here. He's talking about like how people are perceiving him on the boat, and how he's like sitting by himself as like this young man, and he's thinking he's terribly serious, isn't he? And he can't be more than 23. He must have something very important on his mind. And like he's so me when I'm like out and about trying to be serious.
I wonder how old Tom Ripley actually is, because he still has that kind of childlike innocence where he's there's like a part where when he's in Italy and he says, he doesn't have any. I don't have any friends here. Like, what's gonna happen if I get sick? Who's gonna look after me? And I think that also ties in with the fact that he kind of grew up without parents.
Yeah.
And he grew up with his aunt, who it's implied might have been abusive, kind of. Well, it's definitely implied she was abusive in some way, but
and she keeps calling him like a pansy, like his father.
Yeah.
Like, oh my goodness.
Which ties into, and this is gonna come back more so when we're discussing the movie discussion, which we're gonna compare and contrast the novel and the film, the 1999 film with Matt Damon, which are quite different.
Yeah.
Is Tom Ripley? What is Tom Ripley's attraction to Dickie Green? Like, basically, what I'm trying to ask is Tom Ripley gay?
I think so.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
In the book,
He might be bisexual, but I think his main motivation is that he just wants everyone to love him.
Yeah. And in the movie, it's more, we'll come back to that, but like in the movie, it's more implied.
I would say in the movie it's explicit.
A bit more blatant.
Yeah,
it's a bit more blatant that like Tom's attraction to Dickie is
romantic, as well as But he sort of does fall in love with Dickie.
He talks about
way.
like spending the rest of their lives together and going to Greece. And doing all that
and there's a lot of chat about and I guess we'll circle back to this, but I think it's also important to note that Patricia Highsmith, I don't know if you know this.
I don't know this.
That Patricia Highsmith was a lesbian. And
oh my gosh.
had a lot of like internalized homophobia and stuff going on. Which is interesting. Like, how I'm trying to find my note here, but there was an article about Patricia Highsmith. I think it was a New Yorker article by Margaret Talbot. It was a very good article. It was called Forbidden Love.
Oh.
That basically says, like many sophisticates at the time, she viewed homosexuality as a psychological defect that could be fixed. Yet she had enough self-respect and sexual appetite to reject any attempt to fix her own. So she she had a bit of that internalized homophobia going on herself. Which I think is definitely present in Tom Ripley, because there's even that part where he's like, to go back to what you were saying about Dickie being everything that he wants to be, there's a part where they meet and they're standing on the beach, and Tom is talking about the fact that Dickie is just standing on the hot sand, like it's not bothering him at all, and Tom is insanely uncomfortable by the heat of the sand. So I don't know, I think Dickie in a lot of ways is like this perfect image of masculinity to Tom, who feels definitely this, self-loathing about his own. Yeah,
it's like when Dickie, when Tom assumes Dickie's identity, he talks about like feeling more like at home in himself, like, oh, now that he's Dickie, he can do all these different things, and now he just feels better. And then when he has to ditch the Dickie identity, he's like, oh, I hate this. Having to go to Greece as Tom Ripley. I couldn't think of anything worse.
Yeah. It's also it's quite sad, actually.
It's really sad.
It's it makes you realise that
he just
the whole
hates
thing
himself.
he's just trying to outrun himself.
Which is
which it makes him more likeable, because I think another interesting question that there's a lot of questions you can ask about Tom Ripley, but like, is Tom Ripley a likeable character? Like, I think he's a likeable character.
I wrote this down as well. I was like, are we on his side?
I think I found myself on his side.
I think when he was like trying to run away from the police and everything and trying to like evade all these different people, I was like, okay, I'm kind of on your side, because I just want to see how you get out of this. But I mean, like, I'm on his side. I think he's just a girl. I think he's just a girl.
He may do objectively heinous things, but
he's just
like me.
A girl. He's just a girl.
He's
just a girl living in captivity.
And yeah, I don't know. So I guess we'll kind of contextualize. So basically, Tom goes to Mangiabello, which is in Italy, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's how you pronounce it.
Mangiabello.
And he meets Dickie Greenleaf and Marge. Marge is his friend / When I read it, I thought they were dating, but I guess they weren't.
When I read it, I thought they were dating. But I think they're just, like, good friends.
But it doesn't turn out that way.
Oh,
much to Tom's chagrin.
Much to Marge's chagrin. No, it doesn't. I mean, well.
Kind of.
Kind of.
And Tom decides that he's gonna basically forcibly live with the both of them.
Yeah, he's
like I'll move in.
No, Tom does the thing where he's like you know that little ant with the stick bag. He's like, oh, I guess I'll just stay at the hotel.
I don't have anywhere else to go.
I have no friends here. I guess now that I've told you my evil master plan, I must go home.
I mean, to be fair, he doesn't really have, from the look of it, he doesn't have any relatives in New York.
He's got like
his aunt sends him checks in the mail, but I don't know if she lives there. So he doesn't really have anywhere to go. But he takes that as his cue to basically take over the life of Dickie Greenleaf and become best friends with him. Even though, and here's another question, is it ever implied that Tom and Dickie actually know each other in any serious capacity, or did they just go to a party together at one point?
I think it's like, I mean, well, Tom's whole thing was like, oh, we kind of knew each other at Princeton. Tom's never been to Princeton. Tom's never been to Princeton. Are you joking me?
Yeah, because I think they just went to a cocktail party.
Yeah.
And also there's a part near the start where he talks about the fact that he befriended a guy from Princeton
just in case he
needed to start a scheme about him having gone to Princeton. He's a very methodical, very meticulous guy, Tom Ripley.
Yeah, he's smart. He's also very egotistical. Mm-hmm. He's very egotistical. There's a bit where Mr. Greenleaf, the dad, sends him a letter being like, okay, don't feel Dickie's not coming home. Don't feel obliged. Don't feel obliged to like do this anymore. And then Tom's like, I failed.
I failed Dickie.
I failed Dickie. I failed myself.
And it's also the fact that at that point in the story, Dickie and Marge are they're becoming romantically involved, and Tom is not happy about this. Very strangely
oh my goodness.
upset
He's
about
like,
this.
It's what you were saying about him being kind of childish. It's like that. It's like that kind of childish. Be like, oh, he was supposed to be my boyfriend.
Throwing his toys out the pram.
He's like watching them like kissing. He's like, they've done this before. This is, oh my goodness, I can't.
It goes even further than that. I think it's just like,
Dickie
is my friend, not yours.
Clenching hands and like clenching fists in anger, like hot tears running down his face, like, oh, my friend.
And this culminates also, and there's a part where Dickie introduces Tom to his friend, who's Freddie Miles, who Tom knows from, I don't actually know, who Dickie knows from Princeton, maybe? I'm not actually
somewhere.
Sure. He just knows him from somewhere. And Freddie is like, oh, we should get on a skiing trip. And Dickie's like, oh, yeah, that sounds cool, man. Sounds
Tom's
good.
Like
Tom's shivering, like shaking with anger.
Yeah, he's like, no one. I must have Dickie to myself.
And spoiler alert, Tom does murder Freddie later in the story because Freddie's kind of onto him about murdering Dickie and stealing his identity. Yeah. But we'll get to that part of the story. So we're currently...
By the way, I called it in my book. There's a bit before it and I'm like, oh, he's going to kill Freddie right now. He's going to kill Freddie right now. He's done it once, he's going to do it again. And he did. And there's a bit in it and I was like, I told you so.
With the whole Freddie Miles one, I feel like the murder of Freddie was a little bit less premeditated because Dickie essentially... after Tom gets upset about Dickie and Marge being romantically involved and they kiss and Tom's like, that didn't look like a first kiss.
They've done this before.
They've done that before and I'm upset about it. And so Tom throws his toys at the pram and decides that he's going to kill Dickie. Yeah. He just decides he's going to kill Dickie.
He's like, there's a bit and he's like, oh, well the thoughts crossed my mind once or twice, but I haven't really considered it. And then they take a trip to San Remo. And then they're like,
okay, I'm considering it.
Oh, okay. Well, we're going on a boat. This would be a most opportune time to kill my best friend.
And he...
Best friend no more.
So he takes him out onto a rowboat, hits him with an oar, and he basically just throws him into the ocean and...
Yeah,
ties concrete to his feet or something.
Yeah, something like that. And then like the boat starts like spinning around and Tom's like, oh, what an ordeal. I have to get back onto this boat now.
Trying to find the page that this actually...
And then it happens.
I think it's like... 87.
It's
there it is.
87?
So yeah, it says... He had failed Dickie in every way. He hated Dickie because however he looked at what had happened, his failing had not been his own fault, not due to anything he had done, but due to Dickie's inhuman stubbornness and his blatant rudeness.
Blaming other people.
He had offered Dickie friendship, companionship and respect, everything he had to offer, and Dickie had replied with ingratitude and now hostility. Because Dickie is sort of like trying to politely push him away.
Yeah,
He's not like being mean to him or anything, but he's basically saying, right, me and Marge are going to go to Rome, or is it Rome? I can't remember, but he basically says, we're going to go, and we'd like it if you didn't come with us.
We're going to go, but you stay right here. There's a bit that I've highlighted, he's like, he wanted to kill Dickie, and my annotation is, kill him, wear his skin.
Yeah, because
unhinged.
Literally on the same page it just says, if he killed him on this trip, Tom thought, he could simply say that some accident had happened. He could just thought of something brilliant. He could become Dickie Greenleaf himself.
And then I've annotated, this is his primary goal. This is his way of realizing obsession. It's like
obsession, big theme in this book.
Yeah, the Gatsby Greenlight effect of he's like trying to obtain this like goal, but he can't really get it.
Can I say, and this is maybe a hot take, I do not care for The Great Gatsby. Overrated the book.
Goodness gracious, Adam.
I know that's a very loaded statement.
You can't say that.
Why? I don't care for The Great Gatsby. I've said it again.
I love The Great Gatsby.
I've said it twice now.
I love The Great Gatsby. We did it in like 5th year higher English, and it's like one of the first books that we did in school that I didn't hate because I was studying it. So
I don't know. I feel like that's the kind of thing with me and The Catcher in the Rye. People are like, I hate Catcher in the Rye. I studied that in 5th year high school. I was like, but it's the best. It's the best. Anyway, tangent over.
I just feel like both books, they do the whole obsession thing really well. This book more so, I think.
Speaking of, this sort of ties into obsession. Can we talk about, and I don't know if you've thought about this at all, but I want to talk about it. Okay. Can we talk about the use of the colour green in this book?
Yes, of course.
So green
equals greed equals
envy, jealousy. And Tom Ripley, he's a pretty jealous guy.
He is.
I mean, literally on the first page, let's see. I've got the first page and it says, this is the first line of the book. Tom glanced behind him and saw the man coming out of the green cage heading his way. The green cage! Symbolism. The green cage, he is trapped. He is stuck inside his envy. Yeah, that's right. My 6th year English teacher, shout out Mr. Meikle.
Shout out Meikle!
I can still do textual analysis.
Woohoo!
Shout
out Mr. Meikle. He'd be proud of that.
He is a big inspiration.
Oh,
we should get him on the pod.
Oh, let's get Meikle on the pod.
Let's get Meikle on the pod.
I know Mr. Meikle's nephew. I can.
We should definitely get him on.
I've got connections, man.
Do you know that Mr. Meikle used to bring in different kinds of teas into class?
Yeah.
Just for me, basically.
Just for you?
I was his favourite.
I think I was his favourite. I like to believe that I was his favourite.
But how many of his other students are starting book podcasts? So, you know.
Exactly.
He had a favourite for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. The first time I ever watched Blue Velvet.
Oh, excellent film.
Oh my god.
In that class.
Little tangent here. Blue Velvet. My friends that were in that English class will know how much of an effect Blue Velvet then had on the rest of like that class.
Your life forever.
My life. Also, The Crucible. My friends also know the effect that had on me.
Crucible's good.
I was going around quoting it for like a good solid 2 weeks, like, God is dead!
Was that the movie? Is Daniel Day-Lewis in that movie?
Yes.
He's so hot. He is so hot. He's the hottest man in the world.
I don't think so.
Really? No.
I don't think so.
See, if you should watch The Age of Innocence by Martin Scorsese and tell me that he's not hot.
I don't think he was that hot in The Crucible. Winona Ryder.
Well, she's always
love
been
her.
hot. Yeah.
Plays an evil little woman though.
Speaking of hot, can we talk about the colour green in this?
Sorry, we keep going on little tangents.
No,
but
I was actually going to say Jude Law in The Talented Mr. Ripley is extremely hot.
Yes, he is. I think he's cute.
He might be the most handsome man to ever exist.
Oh, maybe.
So
I think that was a really good casting, as well as Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Philip Seymour Hoffman
as
as
Freddie
Freddy.
Miles,
so
of
good.
course.
So
of
good.
course.
I loved his voice. He like talked like this though.
Tommy. Tommy.
Like something stuck in his throat the entire movie.
Tommy.
Gwyneth Paltrow, also great.
Marge. My girl Marge.
Oh, do you want to talk about Marge?
I want to talk about Marge.
Okay.
I'll lead this section.
You lead the section.
Marge, my clabber girl.
By Clabber Girl.
Clabber girl. I love her. She does nothing wrong. She just wants to be happy. She wants to write her book. She's living up in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
I love her. I love her.
She really, yeah.
Tom's hatred for Marge, unfounded. What does Marge ever do to you other than be friends with?
Kiss your boyfriend.
Other than kiss your boyfriend. However, not the worst thing because he's not your boyfriend.
Exactly. But I guess, I mean, obviously, like, Tom just hates Marge out of principle. He sort of hates her by proxy of hating himself.
Yeah. Tom hates Marge because Marge is getting in the way.
Yeah. But she's so nice. And Dickie doesn't deserve Marge.
Dickie does. Marge is such a great gal. You know, she does talk about Tom behind his back to Dickie because there's a bit in when Tom is writing as Dickie to Marge and Marge is like, oh, well, I still don't like that Tom guy.
Yeah.
But whatever. Because she's just a girl. And I love her.
She sees right through him.
She does.
I think that's also a part of why, like, Tom is sort of not scared of her, but she's really his only... she has the thing that he fears the most.
Every time Marge has dialogue or Marge has a little bit, I highlighted it and I put a large heart around it. I love her so much.
Marge in charge.
Marge in charge. I love her.
So where are we in the story? Oh, Green. Yes. So Dickie, obviously surname Greenleaf. That represents money.
I didn't even put that together.
But it also represents envy.
Envy.
But also, and this ties in nicely to the next symbol I want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Dickie has a green ring. And that obviously symbolizes wealth as well. Especially, there's a later section.
A little pinky ring.
Yeah. Yeah. Like a Saul Goodman pinky ring. And also, I want to talk briefly about rings because there is a lot of talk about rings in this book. And also the rings are sort of the thing that gets Tom caught out in the end.
Yeah, because Marge finds the rings.
Mm-hmm. And also bad chicks, which is quite poetic since that's what Tom's MO was when he was in New York.
Yeah. He talks to Dickie about like being good at doing impressions and being good at forgeries and stuff. And in the end, he's like he gets
caught out.
He gets caught out.
His cockiness got the better of him.
Yeah, because he's so egotistical and so like, haha,
you
can't catch me.
Yeah, he loved the chase so much he got caught.
Exactly. But do you feel like he's such a calculated guy? Do you think that, you know, in a way that he was subliminally trying to get caught, or do you think that he was like, just out of his own like cockiness, he was too relaxed, or do you think he was like subliminally trying to catch himself out?
Well, I think he was trying to. I think he enjoyed the idea of being caught.
Mm-hmm. And then when it actually happened, he kind of.
But he doesn't really get caught. He gets caught out a few times and he has to change his strategy. But like at the end,
I think he likes that though.
When he's sailing that boat into Greece and he says, "Oh, there's the police on the pier. I'm ready to turn myself in."
I'm ready.
And then he walks up to them with the expectation of them being like, "Tom Ripley, you're under arrest." And they just have no idea who he is, and that sort of offends him a little bit.
Yeah, he's like, "Okay, well,
what the heck, man?
Well, you know,
I killed 2 people here, guys."
Ready to turn himself in. Police were there for like just there, and he's like, there were like the handcuffs. Like, I'm ready. Yeah,
because he's always, and it's sort of implied at the end that he's always gonna have to look over his shoulder, but. He enjoys having to look over his shoulder. I mean, the first page, he's out running someone he thinks is the police. So
he's always been a bit paranoid. There's, you know, at the start, he's like looking over his shoulder and he's like going through the bars and stuff. And he's like, "Oh, somebody's following me." When when
it's actually just Mr. Greenleaf.
It's actually just Mr. Greenleaf, and there's nothing really to be scared about.
He's like, he's a little bit let down.
But then when he moves to Venice or he moves to Rome, he's like, there's a bit here. He's walking through and he's getting really, really paranoid because he's killed the 2 people. He's like, it shamed him and made him shrink inside his overcoat. He imagined a dark, panting young face following him home, staring up to see which window had lighted up after he had gone in. Tom hunched in his overcoat and walked faster as if he were fleeing a sick, passionate pursuer.
A dark, panting young face.
Dark, panting young face. He's like scared. He's like paranoid of like something getting him.
But he's thrilled by it.
He's like, oh, I'm gonna go out at night more.
Well, this is a good point to mention, that part of the book where he's talking about, you might have this highlighted, I don't think I do, where he says the anticipation of something is like better than the actual event.
Yeah, I had that highlighted somewhere.
Where he says, "Oh, I just love the anticipation
he's
of."
Like, love it.
Yeah.
He's also, I wrote this here, he's like really like, he's like self-involved. He's like, any inconvenience is such a drama to him, but he kind of likes it. He's like, oh, he'd have to move. It was hell. He cursed himself. He's like, oh, I'm gonna have to move now.
Interestingly, also, like, when he's dreaming of being Dickie Greenleaf and then he actually becomes Dickie Greenleaf, I feel like it's not really all it's cracked up to be, you know? The anticipation of becoming Dickie Greenleaf is actually better than...
Yeah.
Because when he is Dickie, he's on edge the whole time.
Yeah. But he's like... He likes it, though.
He likes it, though.
He likes it.
He likes it.
He loves being Dickie Greenleaf. He talks about, like, going to different parties as Dickie Greenleaf and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a lot more, like, sociable, or he's a lot more, like, outgoing. Yeah. And it's almost as if he puts on a character as Dickie Greenleaf, but then so much so that character now becomes like he is now that character.
Tom Ripley as Dickie Greenleaf.
Yeah, but then when he has to go back to Tom Ripley, he feels like he has to put on a different character. You said you highlighted something about the suit, like a really good bit about like putting on a suit.
Yeah. Or is that the part where he's talking about how he has to go back to being Tom Ripley?
Yeah, and he's like, it's like putting on a suit that didn't fit right.
Oh yeah, here it is, page 169.
Oh.
It says, so this is when he's thinking that he's about to be caught because a forged signature basically arouses suspicion in the Italian police. So he says, this was the end of Dickie Greenleaf he knew. He hated becoming Thomas Ripley again, hated being nobody, hated putting on his old set of habits again and feeling that people looked down on him and were bored with him unless he put on an act for them like a clown, feeling incompetent and incapable of doing anything with himself except entertaining people for minutes at a time. He hated going back to himself as he would have hated putting on a shabby suit of clothes, a grease-spotted, unpressed suit of clothes that had not been very good even when it was new.
Oh,
what a great line.
What a good one.
So good.
It was so good.
But like, I think that Tom, kind of like you said, he wants to become Dickie Greenleaf, but he almost wants to become like a better version of Dickie Greenleaf.
Yeah.
He enjoys. He's got like a superiority complex.
But he's like really insecure.
Yeah.
It's such a good like combination. He's just like, oh, he's also very sassy. He's so sassy. Oh, I've got a bit here. It's like he's talking about like all Dickie's possessions that he's gonna have to get rid of when he moves, and he's like, Marge can have the damn refrigerator. That ought to please her. Or like, just so sassy.
Give her the fridge.
He's so sassy when it comes to Marge. There's a bit where he's like, maybe that will get through her thick skull. I'm like, oh my goodness,
Jesus.
My gal did nothing wrong to you, except kiss your boyfriend. But he's not your boyfriend.
I know. Bro's just alluded.
So
since we're on the subject of possessions, I want to talk about. This goes back to the rings thing. So the rings. Dickie has a signet ring.
Yes.
Signet rings are typically represent a person's identity. So when Tom steals Dickie's signet ring, that's him taking his identity, right?
Yeah.
And then there's a huge part. It's on page 222 where he's talking about possessions and how they kind of remind a man who he is.
Oh, I've got that. Yeah, they gave a man self-respect. Yeah.
Exactly. They give a man self-respect.
Possessions reminded him that he existed and made him enjoy his existence. That's such a good... I love that.
So it's like, I have written here, Dickie's money gave him access to possessions, and therefore they gave him self-assurance, they gave him an identity. Because Tom Ripley isn't, you know, at the start of the book, you don't really even know anything about Tom. He's just
a guy.
Nobody. He's just an invisible man.
Guy. He talks about that though. He talks about like, you know, being alone.
Mhm.
He talks about like being a nobody, or like going through Greece alone as a nobody,
Mhm.
and like, I don't know, he feels like he's somebody when he's Dickie Greenleaf, which is, you know, true, because everyone loves Dickie.
Mhm.
Yep.
And then he resents the idea of having to return to Tom Ripley. But does everybody love Dickie? Like,
Did you like Dickie?
I'm gonna come back to this, but I think, and especially when we talk about the movie discussion,
Mm-hmm.
but I think Dickie Greenleaf kind of got what he deserved.
I think he's a bit of an arse.
Yeah. Like, Tom Ripley doesn't come from money, I don't think. It doesn't seem like he comes from money.
Mm-mm.
Dickie is almost like the anti-Tom Ripley.
He comes from money. He's rich.
The only thing that they
loaded.
share is arrogance.
Yeah. And apparently a face. Because
Apparently a face.
because everyone tells Tom, "Oh, you look just like Dickie."
And,
How very convenient.
I don't know if he got what he deserved. I think movie Dickie is quite different to
Movie Dickie's
book Dickie.
because it's more implied in the movie that Dickie and Marge are together,
Yeah,
and then he's like cheating with this woman,
random Italian woman.
Sylvana,
Yeah,
who
who gets pregnant.
gets pregnant, and then she drowns. She drowns
Which-
herself.
Water as a symbol of death.
Oh my goodness! Can we talk about the water and the foreshadowing?
It's
Tom,
everywhere.
Tom hates the water. He talks about like going on the ship
Yeah.
to Italy. He's like, oh, I hate water. I hate like
Gets everywhere.
gets everywhere.
And his parents drowned.
His parents drowned. Dickie drowns.
Uh-huh. And
Dickie doesn't really drown. He just like puts him in the water.
mhm.
Like, oh.
and
Sylvana
Sylvana drowns in the movie.
in the movie. Who-
Water is really,
It's a big motif.
but also at the end, when Tom Ripley kind of gets away with it all, he sails into Greece, on a boat.
triumphantly.
Triumphantly.
He, like, compares himself to like the Odyssey.
He overcomes his fear of water. It takes him to his freedom.
It's so.
It's really
like,
so
full
profound.
circle.
So profound.
So profound, Patricia.
So that and that's the end of the story. Also, just a side note, one of my
Mhm.
favorite things to do with this book was to translate all the Italian.
I loved it. There's like a bit where the boat that he kills Dickie on is found, and I had to like translate all that.
I was like,
Awesome.
what's this? Italian for
I did have to. I
bloodstains.
did have to re-download Google Translate though,
Yeah.
just for like the ease.
Uh,
The
So,
last
yeah.
line of the book is in Italian.
it is, yeah. What did you
Like-
translate it as?
To a hotel, please. Tom said, "The best hotel, the best, the best."
Okay, that's what I have as well.
Yeah.
Interestingly, and this is sort of a tangent, but it's also interesting to talk about, since we're on the subject of writing in Italian.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know, and I was doing a little bit of research, that along with writing 22 novels and a bunch of short stories, Patricia Highsmith wrote
back at it again.
over 8,000 pages of diary entries in 5 different languages.
Patricia's really smashing it right now.
Well, she couldn't really speak any of those languages, but she
Oh.
did it anyway.
good for her. Good
Because
for her.
there was like a Guardian article about this. It was like Patricia Highsmith's secret diaries revealed.
Oh my goodness,
And
I would hate that, having my diaries revealed.
apparently she was like a bit of a nut, to be fair.
Oh,
She was like, I have a note here somewhere actually. Where is it?
maybe that's why she wrote Tom Ripley so well. As
Maybe.
like an absolute.
Well, I
psycho.
think Tom Ripley is a little bit Patricia Highsmith. Apparently her own publisher described her as being a horrible human being.
Oh my goodness.
So she must have had something.
So
going on.
maybe not a slay.
Yeah, because in that Guardian article it was like she was a alcoholic, racist, self-loathing,
No,
philandering.
Patricia. Okay, I kind of take back what I said about Patricia being a slay.
Well, I don't know. Also, it was like someone had said that when she got older, in every picture, the closest thing, because she never smiled, the closest person she resembled was Richard Nixon,
Oh my god.
which is just
oh my god.
a horrible thing to hear about yourself.
Oh.
Yeah,
Rip Patricia.
I did
It
so
says-
much.
It says at the start here that like in the bit about the author, she dies in Switzerland.
Did she?
Yeah.
Alright.
Patricia Highsmith died in Locarno, Switzerland in February 1995.
Honestly. Apparently, a therapist in the 1940s told Patricia Highsmith that she was actually straight, and that
Oh
she
my
just
God.
showed an interest in women because she hated her mother,
Oh.
which is very 1940s of a therapist to say.
Oh wow.
So definitely, she was really. You should definitely go and look up. She was an interesting person.
Let Patricia be Patricia.
I know.
But maybe let's not be racist or
Yeah, let's be yourself, but not racist.
yeah.
Um,
Quote of the day: Be yourself,
yeah,
but
be
not
yourself,
racist.
but not racist. I'm trying to think. Is there anything else we kind of want to cover? I mean, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in this book. You know, we could go into explicit detail. Like all day.
Yeah. Oh, there's a bit here that I've annotated as gay pining. He could remember Dickie's smiles that first day they began to get along, when he confessed to Dickie that his father had sent him. He remembered their crazy first trip to Rome. Haha. He remembered with affection even that half hour in the Carlton bar in Cannes when Dickie had been so bored and silent. But there had been a reason why Dickie had been bored after all. He had dragged Dickie there, and Dickie didn't care for the Côte d'Azur. He's like, oh,
Gay
Dickie, gay pining. Oh, there's a bit where he's getting annoyed. Tom's getting annoyed at Dickie, because he's trying to like speak Italian. And trying to like be Dickie and speak Dickie's Italian because Dickie speaks Italian a lot better than Tom. But Tom learns it in order to be Dickie, but he's getting a little bit annoyed. Dickie had never used the subjunctive as often as it should be used in Italian. Tom studiously kept himself from learning the proper use of the subjunctive. He's like,
Gotta learn the proper use of the
damn,
subjunctive.
Dickie, not using the proper subjunctive.
That's the ick. See when people can't use the proper use of the subjunctive.
Oh my god.
That's the ick.
Yeah, I've highlighted that as like continues to find ways that make him better than Dickie, or make Tom Dickie better than normal Dickie.
Tom Dickie better than normal Dickie. I get you. I get you. Mm-hmm. That is every page that I have wanted to point out. Oh, except for the part where it's sort of implied that Tom's father was gay.
Yeah.
But again, that sort of comes under the whole internalized homophobia thing.
Yeah.
Although Tom's aunt, Dottie says, "Oh, Tom's a pansy. You're so much like your father."
I'm like, oh my goodness.
So little bit of homophobia in the family.
I'm so that's so sad. I'm sad.
I know. It's a shame.
I've just come up with this bit here. There's like this character called Senora Buffy or
Senora Buffy.
And I've highlighted it and just went Vampire Slayer. I find myself so funny. I think that's really funny.
That would be a good name for an all-you-can-eat restaurant. Senora Buffy.
Oh, Italian restaurant.
Very clever.
Oh, very, very good.
What is going on out there? There is a plumber in my house right, or there's a plumber doing something in my house right now. I can't tell whether.
Let's invite him on the pod.
All right, mate. What's your favorite book? It's
what did I say? Les Mis?
Because
plumbing gives off barricade vibes. Plumbing as a profession.
War and Peace.
Anna Karenina.
Yeah, it's got like a really specific taste. It's like, yeah, man, Brothers Karamazov. It's a real page turner.
Plumbing for dummies. All my annotations. I don't know, for whoever gets this book next, whoever gets my copy of this book next is going to see that I'm a very funny and smart individual when it comes to writing, but not until I went to reading. Yeah.
They're going to see some serious
analysis on my
analysis
There's going to see some serious analysis in here that I'm just not... Oh, what's this bit here? Okay. Oh, yeah, another bit where I've just been like, Hearted Marge... Hearted Marge's name. Marge is writing a letter to Tom Dickie. Quote, they're like something they're talking about. Okay, never mind. Quote, thanks for all the wonderful memories. They're like something in a museum already, or something preserved in amber, a little unreal, as you must have felt yourself always to me. Best wishes for the future. Marge. Immediately. Oh, that corn at the end. Oh, Clabber Girl.
Clabber Girl. We need to talk about Clabber Girl. Tom describes Marge
hates Marge
as a Clabber Girl.
And he thinks about killing her, seriously. He's like,
I don't remember that. To be fair, I finished this book a couple of weeks ago.
I'm pulling this up right now. He almost thinks about killing her. Let me find this.
Clever girl.
Clever girl.
This all stems from the fact that Marge uses the word clabber, and Tom's like, the fuck does that even mean? Clabber girl. Because nobody
also
is Tom Ripley.
symbolism of the colour red as well, right? I'm going to bring this up. Marge has a red swimsuit. Tomato swimsuit.
Tomato red.
And then Tom sits down in an armless chair upholstered in red. The hot seat. I just thought that was a nice little analysis.
I see. Thank you for that analysis. He sits on Marge.
He sits on. No, I didn't mean that. I just mean like the hot
That's
seat.
a different story altogether. Very different
that's
one.
The AO3. That's the AO3 fan fiction of this.
I think it's funny that going into this book, I was like, "Oh, is he gonna kill Dickie so that he can be with Marge?" And I was like,
thought that
"No,
as
he's
well.
gonna kill Dickie
Because he
so
wants
that he
to
can
be
be
with
Dickie." Yeah, and he just hates Marge. Poor Marge.
There's a bit where Marge meets up with Tom after killing Dickie, and she's like, "Well, how do you think you felt about me? Tell me honestly. I can take it." I'm like, "She's just a girly pop. She's just a girly pop."
So we need to talk about the movie.
The movie.
The Talented Mr. Ripley, starring Matt Damon, Jude Law, Gwyneth Paltrow, 1999.
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Goop founder,
Goop.
Gwyneth Paltrow.
I love her.
Which is quite different. The movie's quite different from the book, I would
It's really
say.
different. It's really different, and I was kind of shocked. Also, Kate Blanchett's in it for plays a character that doesn't exist.
Yeah. I was going to bring that up. There is a character in the movie called Meredith whose function is basically just to serve as Tom almost getting caught out, kind of.
Yeah.
Because for some reason, when he arrives in Montebello, he tells Kate Blanchett's character that his name is Dickie Greenleaf. She basically just exists for Tom to almost get caught and then kind of just disappears. Also, Dickie gets this what was her name? Sylvana.
Or something like that.
Random Italian woman. He gets pregnant.
Is Fausto's woman?
Oh, maybe I don't remember.
She's someone's. She's
someone's woman.
She's someone's woman. Not only Dickie's.
Fausto was like one of those characters in the book where I just read his name and I went, "That's that guy," but I know nothing about that guy.
Yeah, it's like I read him, forgot about him, and then he was referenced again. I'm like, oh, okay, that guy.
Fausto. Yeah. No idea who he is. Also, Tom in the movie is explicitly a gay man, or at least he's
which
bisexual.
Which is good
man.
because in the book, I mean, I picked up on that. I thought he was gay, or at least bisexual, or at least had an interest in men. Because he talks about, well, I don't know. He's like, he hates Marge, which I mean, like, not all gay men hate women.
He just hates
He
Marge.
just hates Marge because Marge is with Dickie.
And also, Marge is a little bit more perceptive. She's more onto Tom in the movie. At the end of the movie, she actually goes like, "I know you killed Dickie."
Yeah.
And Tom just kind of gets away with it anyway.
Yeah. Insane moves.
And Tom has a partner, or it's implied that he has a partner, Peter, who's Marge's husband or something. Can't actually remember. But he's basically Marge's friend or something, and Tom ends up getting with him. Also, Dickie in the movie, way more of an asshole.
Of course.
When Tom kills him, it's kind of
you're kind of like, yeah, okay.
incidental. Like he like Dickie just starts lashing out at him.
I just feel like in the movie they're not as friends as they are in the book.
Yeah.
It's
I
like
think
Dickie's keeping him at a distance.
Yeah, whereas in the book his murder of Dickie is totally premeditated. But in the movie it's more like, I'm just killing him. He hits him, and then he's like, "Oh shit, I shouldn't have done that." And then Dickie jumps him and tries to kill him, and then at that point Tom murders him. So I don't know. I think that the Tom in the movie is a little bit less of a sociopath and more of a sort of, I don't know.
Also,
tragic character.
The bit that gags me in the movie is Dickie loves jazz. Dickie loves jazz, right?
There's a lot of jazz in the movie.
Yeah, and then Tom,
There's none in the book.
Tom's like leaving to go back to New York, and he quote like drops these jazz records out of his tote bag. He has a tote bag. He's just like me. He's just like me. He's
Literally,
got a tote bag.
bro's got a
He's
tote
just
bag.
a girl. He's just a girl. He's got a tote bag.
See, when he rocked up on the beach in like his yellow speedos, I was like, bro,
oh, he's just me.
he's me for real.
With my yellow speedos.
Yeah, and yeah, and he was like, what is it? He says something like he's talking about Charlie Parker.
He's like,
And he's like, I named my boat after Charlie Parker.
Like, ask me what my boat's called.
Yeah.
Ask me
And
what
then he
my
goes,
boat's
you can't,
called.
and Marge is like, you can't name your boat after a man. He's like, he's not a man, he's a god. It's so dumb.
Oh my god.
Also, speaking of
He's
boats,
so jazz pretension.
this is a little thing I noticed as well. Did you notice what Dickie's boat was called in the book?
No.
It's called the Pipistrello,
What does that mean?
which is Italian for bat. And Tom is a bloodsucker. He's a vampire.
Oh my
And some bats are
goodness.
vampires. I don't know. That was kind of a tenuous
Oh my
connection, but I thought maybe
goodness.
that was why it was called the bat.
Bit of a stretch.
A little bit, but you know, if it's not,
I thought,
it's analysis.
I thought you were gonna like make like a Batman, like
No,
Tom,
genuinely.
Tom doesn't rest until the city is safe.
Tom loves
Tom-
He cares about justice.
Tom cares about his own personal justice.
Tom is Batman.
Tom's his own Batman.
Yeah.
Tom's his own Batman.
Yes.
Can we draw comparisons between? And I was reading this. I'm reading this in a post Saltburn
Oh God.
mindset.
Yeah, I know you were gonna bring this up.
Yes. They're the same. They're kind of
No,
the
I
same.
disagree strongly. I don't think
They're kind of the same.
Saltburn. I have a bit more respect for Tom Ripley than I do for, what's his name? In
Oliver.
Saltburn, Oliver.
Oliver Quick.
I don't know. I just feel like Oliver Quick's. I
They're
don't know.
the same in the way that they just like weasel their way in. There's a bit.
I hate that this discussion of Tom Ripley has made its way to Saltburn. We're so basic.
Adam, please. There's a bit. You can't not do it. You can't not do it.
Oh God.
I'm pulling this up. There's a bit where Tom is talking to Mr. Greenleaf, and they're talking about like here we are. They're talking about this. Mr. Greenleaf's like, do you think Dickie was depressed? Do you think he killed himself? And Tom's like, it was his general mood. Tom frowned. The Miles thing had obviously shaken him. He's the sort of man, he really does hate publicity of any kind, violence of any kind. He did say if one more thing happened, he would blow his top, or he didn't know what to do. Also, for the first time, I felt he wasn't interested in his painting. Maybe it was only temporary. Maybe, but up until then, I'd always thought Dickie had his painting to go to whatever happened to him. I said, he's a worm. He just makes little suggestions here or there.
Yeah.
That is so Oliver Quick.
I know, but actually, Oliver Quick is so Tom Ripley if you think about it.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll give
Yes,
Patricia
okay.
Highsmith the credit, but
I
get you.
Yeah, and I watched a YouTube video comparing the two.
I saw that too.
Yep.
That was like I looked up Talented Mr. Ripley and like the first thing came up was
Same,
Saltburn. And I was like,
yeah.
"Fuck's sake, man."
I was looking up like things to talk about, and that was there. And I think they're similar. They're similar characters in the way that they won't stop. They won't stop until
just won't.
until they reach the goal. They're also kind of paranoid, a wee bit.
Nothing is ever enough for Tom. He always needs more.
More. Consumerism.
Can I tell you?
Material possession.
Material possessions.
He's a material girl.
Right. So this is my favorite page of this book.
Tell
And
me.
this is the point at which this story becomes sad, is when he says, I'd better stay by myself for a while longer. I miss my friend Dickie, you know. I miss him terribly. He was suddenly near tears. He could remember Dickie's smiles that first day they began to get along, when he had confessed to Dickie that his father sent him. I don't know, just think that's really sad.
It's so sad when he's talking to somebody else about, oh, I miss my friend Dickie.
It's like he realises what he's
I
done.
feel bad.
Yeah.
I felt bad. I was like, oh.
It's really a tragic character. All right, well, do you have anything else you want to say about the book, The Talented Mr. Ripley?
Definitely read it.
Definitely read it.
Definitely read it.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Really good book.
Okay, right. Shall we do our
Q&A section.
Oh, also, I did want to do this also. We're going to do a playlist.
Oh yes,
of
we're gonna do a
this.
playlist. This is Bog's idea.
This is my idea. So
I haven't partaken in this idea
So
at all.
I'm gonna make notes. We're gonna make a playlist and we're gonna link it in the description of this podcast, where you can listen to it if you so choose. and
Have you made the playlist?
No. This is what we're gonna do now.
Oh, we're gonna make it right now.
I'm gonna write down the songs.
When the moon hits your eye. I feel like this whole book
Okay.
made me feel like I was on an Italian holiday. I felt like I was there.
Like a little Roman holiday, maybe.
Exactly. I love that movie, by the way. You ever seen that?
I know what it is.
Brilliant film. Kind of sad though.
So what we calling the playlist?
The playlist is called Clabber Tunes for Clabber Girls.
Okay.
I don't know. Clabber Tunes for Clabber Girlies. This is our Talented Mr. Ripley playlist.
Right. Number 1.
Girls just want to have fun.
Girls just want to have fun. Okay.
I feel like That's Amore does need to be in there. You know, that's
Amore too. Material Girl by Madonna.
because he has a material
He's a
girl.
Material Girl.
What's like a song about the color green?
Song about the color green.
Is there a green?
It's not easy being somewhere that's green.
Somewhere that's green
Somewhere
from
that's
the. I do like to be beside the seaside. Row, row, row your boat. There are plenty of songs you could do for this one, really.
He gives me the Smiths vibes.
Yeah, maybe.
Like,
Or like-
and if I trouble
Or like The Cure. Friday, I'm in love.
Tom definitely. If Tom was in our day and age, he'd be a vinyl collecting
Mm-hmm.
music nerd, like
Yeah.
me. I'm
Or
a
maybe.
vinyl collecting music nerd, but
Yeah.
he's more so
He's a very
Pretentious.
trendy guy.
pretentious about it. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna put in, "Let Me Get What I Want."
Let me get what I want.
For once in my life, let me,
Yes.
let
Yes,
me
please.
get what I want.
Great idea. And we have to put in row, row, row your boat. Come on, come on, like
What version?
the nursery rhyme version, or
No,
if there's
what
like a
version?
heavy metal version
Yeah.
of it, then that one.
Okay, row your boat.
What about
We need
the Rainbow Connection?
the Rainbow Rainbow Connection. Don't bash that song. I love that song.
No, I'm just looking at your. Bog has got a Kermit the Frog backpack with her today.
I'm also wearing my Muppets. t-shirt.
And wearing the Muppets t-shirt. Yeah.
I'm really repping it. I love the Muppets. Don't get me started on the Muppets.
I love the Muppets.
Love the Muppets.
Who's your favourite Muppet? And why is it Gonzo? Gonzo is objectively the best Muppet.
You can't.
He is the best.
I know. I was gonna say Gonzo. Gonzo, probably my favorite. Miss Piggy because she's like awesome and everything that I want to be. And Kermit just because you can't sing Rainbow Connection. You can't you can't like ride a bicycle while singing, and you can't be a cowboy without being my favorite Muppet.
Fair. That's a very loaded but detailed and good answer.
I love Kermit the Frog.
Fair enough, man.
Yep.
I too love Kermit the Frog.
I also love Kermit the Frog.
Would like to be Kermit the Frog. He's just got it all worked out, doesn't he, Kermit?
I think you give off Kermit the Frog vibes though.
Nah.
You give off Kermity vibes.
It's the Muppet Show. I can't do a Kermit. You know that way that every man's got their Kermit impression? I don't.
You don't?
No, I can't. I'm not even going to. Hi ho, Kermit the Frog here.
Kermit the Frog. I do a really good Goofy impression though.
Fair. Hey, we gained a follower since starting this podcast.
Woohoo! How many followers are we on as of right now?
We're on 112. Thank you for 112 followers.
112 of you are now in my heart forever.
Yeah.
I love every 112 of you.
Honestly, thanks for the support, guys. We haven't even put out an episode yet, and we're already there. So
this is
awesome.
The power of Bog's Book Club.
Well, it's the power of 1am book review.
Probably more so. Probably more so. I'm trying
loyal
to find.
fan base.
I'm trying to find more songs.
What have we got so far? Girls just want to have fun.
That's Amore. A Material Girl. Somewhere That's Green. Let the Light In. Let Me Get What I Want. I don't even know if that's what that song's called. I'm just gonna type that into Spotify and hope for the best. Row Row Your Boat. Rainbow Connection. I feel like we should have Linger by the Cranberries.
Oh, go on.
Or like Fade Into You by Mazzy Star.
Fair.
Okay.
Fair.
Lovers Rock.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna put in Fade Into You because Tom fades into a Dickie.
I'm gonna say, I don't know.
Also,
Tiny Dancer by Elton John.
Okay, Tiny Dancer. That's your favourite song? You love that song.
What's the song? Is there like a song? What about Man, I Feel Like a Woman?
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, Man, I Feel Like a Woman.
Man, this is some playlist. How many songs we can have in here?
As many as we want, because it's our playlist and not yours.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like another song that's Evergreen by Ricky Mitch and the Coal Miners. I don't even know what that song is.
Never heard of it.
Or is that like take this love and make it evergreen?
I feel like I just thought of Frank Sinatra. Maybe can we do Frank Sinatra? What about like
what kind of Frank Sinatra? Do you want?
like That's Life or something? What?
My Way.
My Way.
My Way.
Yeah. Literally.
Because he is doing it his way.
He so is. I hate to bring this back to Saltburn, but should we just put in Murder on the Dance Floor?
Yes. Okay.
Just because we might as well.
Yeah.
This is that's looking like a good playlist. How many tunes is that?
MOTD, Murder on the Dance Floor, Match of the Day.
How many tunes is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
3, 6, 9, 12, 15.
That's a pretty good
Perfect
number.
Perfect
Let's keep it there. So you can join our Clabber Tunes for Clabber Girlies
Girlies.
playlist on Spotify. I wonder if there's a way you can link that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could just like
Link
the
it to
link,
the post or
link it,
something.
yeah, and the description of the post.
Okay, that is
Right.
today's playlist.
Q&A.
Let's hand it over to the fans who have got some questions for us. So we'll just go in order of the way they were submitted. Thank you everyone for your questions. Today we've got 4, which is pretty good going for the first episode.
Yeah.
So, do you want to
Who are we starting with?
start? Let's go from the bottom.
Yeah. So, Erin Boyle _X says,
Hi, Erin.
"Hi, Erin. Who's your favorite colleague?" In brackets can only start with an E.
Hey.
I don't.
Is there any of them that start with an E?
There's. I don't even know. There's maybe like one.
Eugene?
Eugene.
Does he work in the KP area? I'm gonna say him.
I'm gonna say Eugene.
I think
I'm gonna
he's the only
say
one I can think of.
Okay. Yeah. Erin Boyle _X also says, on a real.
On a reel.
On a reel. What book should I read? Well,
That's a very loaded
that's
question,
really,
Erin.
that's like, okay, what do you like?
What
do you
book
like
should
to
I read? Yeah. You know what?
People ask me this question all the time. Kira, you are the best reader of all the times.
People say that to you as well. I get that all the time as well.
People say, Kira, you're the best reader of all the times. What book should I read? And I say, well, I've got a few favourites. I've got a few favourites. I've already promoted Jonathan Franzen's Crossroads as one of my favourites. Also, Book Thief is always really good.
Never read it.
Every time I read it, it's always really
We
good.
should read that on the podcast.
Should do that one. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Gatsby's good. You don't like Gatsby, but whatever.
I don't hate Gatsby. It's just overrated.
I don't hear that anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. Erin, for you, because I know you and I love you. I'm gonna say.
It's tough, isn't it? It's a very loaded question.
I'm like, I don't know what to give you.
I'm going to give you an answer that is the answer I give to everyone that ever asks me for a book
Is
recommendation.
it Catch on the Rye? It's gonna be.
No,
Catch
it's
on the
not.
Rye.
It's Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn.
Oh, okay. Like
Because
the
that's a
movie?
book, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a book that anyone can like.
Mhm.
It's really good thriller.
Yeah.
Really, if you can go into that book without knowing what the spoilers are, you're going to love it.
Love.
And even if you've seen the movie like I had when I read it, super good book. That's
Mhm.
my answer.
I always say that people that want to get into reading, choose a book that has a movie with it.
Uh-huh.
Because then you can. My sister, she does it the wrong, like, quote unquote, the wrong way around. She watches the movie and then then reads the book, which is fine because she's not a big reader.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, okay, lovely, Erin.
What's
choose
your
a book.
answer? Well, what's your book?
Oh, like
It must be something that you're like, that's a good book for anyone who's wanting to start reading more.
try to think of things that are on my shelf. The Shining.
Stephen
The
King?
Shining. I
Fair.
love The Shining. It's one of my favorite movies as well. I think.
Good answer.
But you know, there's a lot of it's different because like the movie and the book are different things, and Stephen King didn't like the movie.
True.
But
Famously.
they stand alone, well on their own. One thing though, the twins aren't in the book. Spoiler alert: the creepy twins not in the book.
That is a good book.
It's a good book, good movie. That's my answer.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Question answered.
Boom. You go.
Dylan Hughes.
Hi, Dylan.
said, "What are your opinions on pigeons and their history?" I'm not strongly. I don't have strong feelings about pigeons and their history one way or the other, really.
I do.
Do you?
I hate pigeons. I'm scared of birds. I'm gonna say that. I'm scared of birds. But pigeons, they freak me out.
I'm also scared of birds.
I'm scared of birds.
But not
oh,
the ones with wings.
I'm scared of actual birds. Toucans the most. I hate toucans.
Tom Ripley vibes.
I'm so scared of women. No, I hate birds. Pigeons and their history. Yeah, people can get sad about how, we domesticated pigeons and then just left them after they became obsolete. I don't care. I don't care.
You very obviously care very strongly about this.
I could care less about pigeons.
All right.
Dylan.
I couldn't.
Dylan, you know me. Dylan, you know that I hate pigeons.
I mean, I like pigeons. Me and my girlfriend Emily used to call each other pigeon brothers. That's a long story, but that's about the extent of my interest in pigeons. Really, my pigeon knowledge is sorely lacking, I guess.
I hate pigeons.
We should read a book about pigeons. See if there's any out there. Pigeon story.
Pigeons flushed away, but pigeon version.
Yeah. Flocked away. Flying away.
Oh, flying away.
Thank you, Dylan, for that
Thanks,
question.
Dylan.
That was really nothing to do with books. But thanks anyway.
At all. See you later, Dylan. Okay, next one. Nicholas Forbert. Hi, Nicholas.
Hi.
Hi, Nick. How are you
That
doing?
is a terribly interesting second name you've got. Forbert. That's like Robert with an F. What's happening, mate? My name's Forbert.
Hi, Nick. How are you doing? You asked a book you stopped reading. Okay, start again. A book you stopped reading and went back to that was actually great and wish you didn't stop.
I have no idea.
Any book that I do stop, I stop for a reason. I stopped reading Money by Martin Amis. Hate that guy. Hate
Why, you
that
didn't
book.
like it? Really?
Just really don't like it. Maybe I'll go back to it and realise
Maybe it'll be great.
Maybe it'll be great. But one book I didn't like that went back to and it was great.
I'm gonna say
something I probably read as a kid that I didn't really like.
A book you stopped reading and then went back to.
I didn't like Butterfly Line the first time I read it, and then I went back to it with fresh eyes, and I love Michael Morpurgo's Butterfly Line.
I don't think I've ever reread a book except for The Great Gatsby, because I reread Gatsby to see if I'd like it, and I didn't. A book that I stopped reading and went back to, I kind of stopped, not to go back to Stephen King, but here's a fun fact. You know, I own every Stephen King book and collection of short stories the man's ever published.
That's impressive. That's a lot.
It's a lot of money. A lot of wasted money and time, but everybody had to have a COVID habit, you know, COVID hobby. I'm gonna say Pet Sematary by Stephen King because I started reading that in like 2017 randomly, and then I came away from it, and then I got the audiobook and I went back to it in like summer 2019, and it was freaking awesome. And it got me right into Stephen King.
Awesome, man.
Freaking awesome, man.
Freaking awesome, man.
It got me right into Stephen King, my boy. And
love Stephen King.
That's also a good book if you're interested in reading. Starting reading, you should read Pet Sematary or Misery. Actually,
oh, Misery.
I've changed my answer.
Oh no, I'm changing my answer.
Misery.
Eden, read Misery, please.
Great book.
And a great movie, Kathy Bates.
James Caan, R.I.P. Good guy, man. Good actor.
Misery was one of the first books I ever read that actually felt fear reading it. Felt fear reading Misery.
It made me feel like a little bitch because I can't swallow pills without chewing them. It's true. It's a wonder that my stomach lining isn't like in pieces.
Well, thanks, Nicholas.
That was a good question, Nick. Thank you.
That was actually quite a good question.
What's your answer? Michael Morpurgo?
Michael Morpurgo, Butterfly Line. I read it in school and I didn't like it a lot. And then I reread it and I love Butterfly Line.
Slay.
Love Butterfly Line.
Good answer. Thanks, Forbert.
Thanks, Forbert.
Name's Forbert. Nicholas Forbert. That's
such
a great name.
Good gracious.
All right.
Last question.
Kevin Kirsten. Hello, Kevin. How's it going?
Hi, Kevin.
Nice to hear you on the pod.
I remember Kevin.
Kevin says, thoughts on comic books? I haven't read comic books consistently in a very long time. I like comic books.
I like comic books.
haven't read one in a long time though. I remember reading Amazing Spider-Man number 700, which is the one where Peter Parker dies.
Oh my god. Spoilers.
It came out like 10 years ago.
Spoilers.
Anyway, that was like insane at the time. But mostly I just used to read like Simpsons comics and stuff like that.
I like comic
which were good
books.
actually.
Not really, well, kind of. I've got a few Star Wars comic books. The one with Luke Skywalker. There's many different kinds of Star Wars comic books, but there's this one strain that I kind of like. But see, when I was younger, there was this Scooby-Doo comic book that was in the library near me, and I love Scooby-Doo, and I loved this book, and it had like 3 parts to it. There was a werewolf bit, like a possessed jungle cat thing, and then like just a regular gang shebang. It was a regular gang.
Regular gang shebang.
Not like that, like regular gang.
Different kind of comic book.
Regular gang business. And then, yeah, I just remember that. That was a really good comic book. Shout out to that one. And I remember it very vividly because I would read it a lot in the library. And then I got it for Christmas one year. And it was insane. And I was like, oh my god, I love this. And I don't know where it went.
Nice.
Find that book.
Someone stole it. They wanted to read about the gang shebang.
I wanted to read about the gang shebang.
The gang shebang was my friend.
I'm going to have to kill whoever took the gang shebang away from me. And assume their identity.
That's the name of this podcast, Tom Ripley and the gang shebang. I always wanted to read The Walking Dead. I know that's a graphic novel, but still, I always wanted to read that.
Oh, one of the greatest graphic novels I've ever seen. Also going back to Mr. Meekle's Advanced Higher English class, we did Brave New World in 1984.
Oh, the graphic novel.
Nicholas Faubert, Faubert, talking about him again. He had the graphic novel of Brave New World.
That's sick.
And it was really cool.
That's
I think,
so cool.
if I'm remembering.
I just
that
remember
right,
they used to have graphic novels of, like, this is such a deep cut, but they used to have graphic novels of Alex Rider, like the Stormbreaker.
That was one book that I really didn't like.
What, that Stormbreaker?
Yeah.
No, I really liked that as a kid.
I didn't like it.
I really liked that book as a kid. But I liked my spy novels as a child, you know.
We read it in primary 7, and that was it.
Fair, man. Hey, if it's not for you, it's not for you.
Nah.
Alright, yeah, I do like comic books. I'd like to go back to them.
Comic books are fun.
I don't know what one I'd go back to though. Kevin, give me some recommendations.
Yeah, Kevin. How about next time you
Fire
give us some
my way.
recommendations?
I know. Cool. All right. Do we have anything else we wanna talk about?
We want to talk about next month's book.
What is? I'll let you introduce it since I picked the Talented Mr. Ripley for this month. And Bog is in charge of next month.
Next month is my month, guys. It's February. I'm turning 18.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
Makes me feel really old.
What age are you turning this year, Adam?
You see, if I say this, people are gonna be like, "Why has he started a podcast with someone like?" I'd like to be completely clear. I'd like to be completely clear. Very Tom Ripley of me. Our friendship. We aren't even friends. We're just business partners.
We're not even
in a professional.
Oh my god.
We're just business partners. It's a completely professional relationship. I will be turning 23 this year.
Woohoo!
And literally my gran just said to me, she was like, "Why are you making a podcast?" And I was like, just for fun." She was like, "Shouldn't you be trying to get a job or something?"
Yeah.
I'm like, well,
I was taking it on my string not to laugh.
I suppose I should be, but yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway,
so it's my month next month, guys. It's Kira's month, February, Kira month. And we're going to be reading...
Drum roll.
The Virgin Suicides.
Wow, The Virgin Suicides.
Yeah.
My autobiography.
By Jeffrey Eugenides.
I don't know.
Anyway, I did that book as well as Lolita for my Advanced Higher English dissertation. So I've got a lot of notes on that already. So I've got a little bit of a head start. So I'm a little bit more prepared than this month.
Yeah.
Which will be good.
Yeah.
And it'll be awesome.
And I'll be well behind. I need to buy it. I haven't even got a copy yet.
Yeah, well, I'm already reading it. So get on that.
That's a job for today.
Yep.
I'll go to the bookshop. Well,
Well,
that's exciting. I know. Well, thank you for being here.
thank you for being here.
And
in your own house.
I'm glad I was here. Yeah, I'm sorry I had to dip out and talk to the plumber, but
And almost killed
I
the
never
dog.
told you about my horror story this
Yeah,
morning.
right. Tell
So
us
I
about
went.
that.
So we had a plumber in this morning in my house, and
As you do.
needed a shit basically, so I had to go and shit. And then I was down there, I was sitting on the toilet. I'd done my business, and my dad knocked on the door and went, "I hope you're not doing a shit in there." And I went, "Why would that be bad if I was?" And he was like, "Yes, because you can't flush it." So basically, the moral of this story is, unless you want to pick your own feces out of your toilet with a dog poo bag and put it in the bin, don't do that. That's my horror story from this morning.
I was going to say, if it was still in there, that would be my advice. Just to get a dog poo bag.
Yeah. It was pretty bad.
It's grim.
It was grim. It was really... I was doing it and I was like, this is so dehumanising. This is a low point for me. Wow.
It's so funny.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, that was kind of a weird way to end the podcast. But anything else you want to say?
Follow everything.
Follow the YouTube, the Spotify.
The Spotify, the Instagram. Yeah.
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, the Hinge profile.
Yeah. Obviously, go like the playlist.
The playlist, what do you call it?
Clabber tunes for Clabber girls.
Yep.
Girlies,
whatever I decide it to be. It will be a picture of Marge.
And will it be in the link in the post?
Yeah, we'll do that. It'll be linked somewhere.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us on the first episode of the 1am Book Club. I can't believe we actually did this.
And hey, this time next month we'll have one more episode than my own podcast. Exactly.
Although this is a long episode. We're currently an hour and 40 minutes.
To be fair, when I did the Hunger Games to Charlie, shout out to Charlie for being my only guest on Bog's Book Club.
Charlie, we need to get you on 1am Book Club.
Oh, we will have to. We were recording for like 3 hours.
So yeah, our final words. Go read The Talented Mr. Ripley.
Yep.
Go and read generally. Just read whatever you like. And we'll see you for The Virgin Suicides.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be awesome. I'm really excited. I've never read it.
They're virgins and they commit suicide.
Sounds right up my street. Well, thanks everyone.
Bye.
See you later.
Love you.
Bye.